Hi, everyone. Welcome to the historic Hollywood Museum in the heart of Hollywood for another edition of Idle Chat TV. I'm Susan Anton, and today we are reuniting stars from several of the fabulous Saturday morning children's shows produced by talented brothers, producers, and puppeteers, Sid and Marty Krofft. From amusement parks to primetime music and variety programs to popular and visionary children's programs, many of the Krofft brothers' wild Technicolor creations like H.R. Pufnstuf, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, Land of the Lost, and Lidsville, they all premiered in the 1970s. And that was a time when moms were busy trying to save time by coming up with creative meals for their families, such as this scrumptious-looking combination of Jell-O, SpaghettiOs, and sausage. Ooh, what were they thinking? Whoa, there's about as much color in that dish as there were in the shows created by the Krofft brothers. Let's take a look back, and then let's go say hello to our guests.
Mayor of Living Island? Terrific! I never met a mayor before. Pleased to meet you, sir.
Well, howdy.
Howdy, your mayorship.
Pufnstuf'll do.
Oh, hey, by the way, Sigmund, how long can you sea monsters stay out of the water?
Oh, for days. We're the modern kind, you know. Drip dry.
Isn't he cute?
He may be cute, Holly, but he's still a dinosaur, and that makes him dangerous.
I think I'll name him Spot.
Spot? Are you kidding? That thing out there is bigger than any dog I've ever seen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Idle Chat. I am so excited to be here today with our special guest, of course, the incredible Marty Krofft. And he has brought along from two of his absolutely delightful shows, from Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, Johnny Whitaker, and from Land of the Lost, Wesley Europe. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
And a little later in the show, we're going to be joined by Butch Patrick from Lidsville, and not to mention Eddie Munster. Marty, look at you. You're a spring chicken.
Hey, it's all good.
It is all good. You know, I read that in 2018, you and your brother Sid were honored with the Daytime Emmy Award Lifetime Achievement Award. That's spectacular. And 2 years later, you got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Tell me what those distinctions meant to the two of you.
They meant a lot, but we never worked since. I'm only kidding. They say when you win an award, it's hard to get another job.
That's funny. Well, those are pretty distinct awards to receive. You know, I thought that this was interesting, Marty, because your shows are so colorful, filled with monsters and all kinds of outrageous locations, which made me wonder, what was your childhood like, and how did you get into puppeteering?
Well, you know, some of the family were puppeteers, so we were an opening act. My brother was one first, like he opened up for Judy Garland.
Wow.
Sinatra, Liberace, Tony Martin, Sid Charisse, and on and on. So, you know, this doesn't happen overnight.
No.
And the good part is we're still doing it.
You sure are. You are doing it, and again and again. And, you know, we go back to Donnie Marie days.
That's right.
Which is really fun. Now, Wesley.
Yes.
The Land of the Lost had a theme song that described what the situation was for. Now, if you want to sing it, that's fine.
Okay, well, I sang it in the original show.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's. You do have a band, right?
Oh, you know.
Okay,
yeah.
no.
They're very quiet, though.
So, Marshall, Will, and Holly, on a routine expedition, met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft. Plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost, to the land of the lost. And then the dinosaur Grumpy goes, roar!
Well, that is a hit if ever I heard one.
But the best was the end song, and you never hear it because when they run their credits, they're always doing advertisement. But it was the best you guys did was, when I look all around, I can't believe the things I found. Now I need to find my way. I'm lost, find me living in the land of the lost, living in the land of the lost. Sid Marty Krofft.
He finally has it down pat.
After all these years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's got it, you know. And so tell everybody, because I think the song does tell it, what was the premise for Land of the Lost, and how did you guys, you went over the waterfall, you found yourself in this make-believe world, and that's basically the setup, was the opening song.
It was my sister Holly and my dad, and we ended up in this world where dinosaurs and giant slee-stack monsters were there, and Monkey Boy Chaco was there, and it ran for 3 seasons, and it was one of the highest-rated shows, I think, on NBC.
Well, I was checking it out on YouTube and watching it. So Marty, maybe you'll do some more money.
The big story is that these two guys, when we were doing Sigmund, we never auditioned other people. We knew Johnny was the one. I always wanted him. I had a family affair, and this guy got it immediately because he knew the song before we even thought of it.
Well, you know what, Marty, you're right about Johnny, because everybody wanted to work with Johnny. In your young career, you worked with absolutely everybody, but you also had a theme song.
There's nothing like a day out on the beach when all it does is rain. You need somebody else to make the sun come out again. Talking about friends, knocking at your door, friends. That's what friends are for. Friends if you're young or old. Everybody needs friends. But Sid didn't like that.
Did everybody need friends?
So for the second and third season, we had to do... let me tell you a tale, a very scary tale about 2 boys who were surfing one day. And strange sea monsters have been sighted there. If you're traveling in the area, beware, beware. Sigmund, the sea monster, and Johnny and Scott, our friends. The finest of friends that ever could be on the land or on the sea.
I didn't know I was treated to so much musicality today. This is fantastic. Did you want to sing a song or two yourself, young man?
No, but it took 100 years to hear this. I've never heard that.
But it was a very clever thing that you and your brother came up with the descriptive of the show in the opening, so everybody really knew what it was. And I think everybody copied that after that. Gilligan's Island and Beverly Hills, everybody was on track with that after you guys set the tone.
You were there almost.
You know, honey, I've been around. Wesley, I understand that your set became a bit of a draw for curious Hollywood superstars. Who were some of them?
Everybody, these guys attracted every celebrity in the world. And so I remember Charo running around chasing the Monkey Boy Chaka going, Gucci, 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 Gucci. You'd turn around, there'd be Elton John, Stallone.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody wanted to come see this because we had 2 sound stages with a jungle and a lagoon. It was the most amazing playground on
I
the
can
planet.
totally see Elton John there. I think that some of those costumes are you later put into the shows.
Well, Margaret Hamilton was on Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
I know. But before we get to Margaret, because I want to find out a little bit more about that, I think that, Wesley, didn't you bring a souvenir that you have from the set?
I did. And Marty saw it at Comic-Con and goes, where'd you get that? I want that.
I
said,
bet.
I took it, Marty. I have my original knife and my Kelty backpack that I carried for all 3 seasons, and I've had all the cast and the writers, including Sid and Marty, have signed it, and this is like my treasure. I love
Well, it
this.
is a treasure. It is a
Well,
treasure
you spoke
for sure.
about Billy Hayes, who was Witchy Poo.
Yep.
And Margaret Hamilton, when she did Sigmund, she told me, she said, you know what? You have the greatest witch of all time, Witchy Poo.
I
Margaret,
read,
for her to say it.
That is the Wicked Witch of the West,
She was the
acknowledging
best.
that, yes.
Witchy Poo.
Witchy
There was
Poo.
nobody like Witchy Poo.
Well, they did that Paul Lynde show together, right?
Yeah.
They were on together.
Ah, okay.
Margaret Hamilton and Billy.
We did that.
Yeah, it was incredible. The 2 witches together.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then Paul Lynde. There's
Yes,
the third.
it was amazing. Yeah.
So Johnny, well, we did that one. You sang beautifully for me. And then we touched on briefly here about the great Mary Wicks in your show played your Aunt Zelda. And that she gave you some advice that you used later on in your career or throughout.
Well, when I did the movie Tom Sawyer,
Yeah.
there was one scene in which I remember it to this day, but we did it 170 times.
Oh my gosh.
Because the director, Don Taylor, wanted a double take. So when I told that to Mary Wicks, she goes, the double take, that's easy, kid. All you got to do is... And then you have the second, which is Mary's favorite, which is the pigeon double take. And then the butterfly double take, which is...
Well,
But I learned it from the master.
From the master. And so with that, I'm going to attempt my own because it's a double take out of this segment. Everybody, are you ready to double take us out of here?
Good.
We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're really having fun here. I like hanging out with you guys.
Me too.
Now, Johnny, tell everybody, though, who was the famous actor that was playing in the sea monster outfit?
Well, Billy Barty was Sigmund. He was the puppeteer who was under the Sigmund costume. And Billy, because of his situation, had a little hitch in his giddy-up.
Gotcha.
And so whenever you would watch Sigmund run, you would watch and it was Billy Barty.
And you knew it was Billy Barty.
Absolutely.
So he wasn't the only famous person that wanted to be a part of your...
Billy Barty.
Tell me who else.
Billy Barty was just not in Sigmund. He was in most of our shows.
Was he?
He was major talented
Yeah.
for a little person, and he was a very big person.
Big talent for a little man,
One of the
yeah?
best people around. I don't know if you remember the movie Foul Play.
Of course.
He was the one on the operating table.
Oh my gosh,
so
that's hysterical.
he was the big hit. He was a big loss.
But you also, but you also had Rip Taylor.
Oh no, we were lucky. We had in our kids shows, Rip Taylor, Charles Nelson Riley
Oh
on
my gosh.
Blitzville, and just on and on. In our variety shows, of course, Barbara Mandrell.
Right.
We had every country act at that time that was in the world.
Clearly, Billy was one of the great characters and talented lady who sadly passed away earlier. But I understand that she beat a lot of famous actresses out for that part.
Yeah, that's right. We auditioned, several actresses.
Penny Marshall?
Penny Marshall didn't do it, but when Billy Hayes came, she swallowed
You knew
our
she was the
table.
one.
Right.
Oh my
she got
gosh.
the role right there.
Didn't she jump up on the table or something?
Jumped
and
up on the
scream? I
table.
think isn't that how she got the
Right.
part?
He
That's what all
knows the
good
whole
witches
thing.
do.
Exactly.
Wesley, he's a home run. These two guys are
You knew it.
major people, major talent.
Well, I was a big fan of one of your other stars of your shows, in addition to these young men. I loved Butch Patrick, who was the original and the only, I believe, Eddie Munster.
That's right.
But you snagged him up to be in Lidsville. And so Bill, come on. Butch, hi, Butch.
Hi, Susan. Hey, thanks for having me on Idle Chat with Sid and Marty.
Well, it's great to have you with us, honey. So, what did you enjoy the most working on Lidsville, and what was the most challenging?
Well, what I enjoyed the most was becoming friends with the Kroffts. They were great guys. And the fact that there was a lot of little people that I knew personally from being my stand-ins over the years as I grew up. They always use little people to do lighting around you and be your stand-in. So I was working with 8 or 9 of my friends, and that was wonderful. From a difficult standpoint, it was a chroma key shoot. Chroma key was a new invention. We had 3 cameras going simultaneously, and we had live voiceover people in real time reading the dialogue, but you had to keep an eye on all the hats because they weren't speaking and they were moving their mouths. So to try to make sure that you were listening to and looking at the right hat while the God mic was booming the voices over, it got a little crazy.
Wow. Well, speaking of crazy, I understand that they would write an entire season and then you would begin shooting and you would do every episode from in the one set that you were going to do that set. And then before you would move to the other one. That would make me nuts. How did you keep that all straight?
A couple of things made that doable. Number one, I had the same wardrobe in every shot. That was easy. Number two, with the multiple cameras and the voices, it would, once you, and basically it was one big set. There was Lidsville and then there was the top hat. There was really only 2 sets, and occasionally they would bring in something else. So we were pretty comfortable in our environment, and we were rolling through it more than 10 to 15, maybe sometimes 15 pages a day, which is a lot. They did 16 episodes in 11 weeks. So we were moving along at a pretty good clip. And it was difficult at times, but I would take it page by page. I would just not look too far down the call sheet and just try to do page by page.
A good philosophy for life in general. What was it like working with Sid and Marty, Krofft?
I mean, they complemented each other so well that I really, really enjoyed the times. I was kind of hesitant to do the show. I was thinking about it because, Saturday morning, I'm in high school. And I went back to high school, and the Cowsills, of all people, told me, you never turn down work. Go do it. And I did, at their advice. And the funny part about it was during the summer of 71, when I turned 18, Sid and Marty became dear friends, and they've always been very gracious to me. And I was happy to be in the third show that they did, because Pup and Stuff is legendary. The Bugaloos, was a huge show, and to be number 3 in their long run, I was very happy. And a lot of people think Lidsville was one of their sneaky best shows.
I'm sure it was. Now, I have to ask you about The Munsters, which was also a TV classic, and you were Eddie Munster, for heaven's sakes. So what was it like being Eddie Munster, being a part of that wonderful franchise, or I should say kind of a franchise, even though it only lasted 2 seasons. But what are you doing now with all of your wonderful memorabilia?
To answer your question, one of the interesting things about the Munsters that I enjoyed the most about being on the show was the cars that Mr. George Barris supplied us with. George Barris, the king of the customizers, and I became friends. I used to love going to his shop. He probably instilled the love of hot rods in me at an early age. And now I actually have a Munster coach and a Dragula that I found a way to go around the country, do what I enjoy doing, which is hot rods. The Munsters has a multi-generational fan base. I have a chance to put the cars on display, have people come up and share their stories with me about how much we were part of their childhood, or great memories with their grandma or grandpa or their favorite uncle watching the show together. And it's amazing how a 2-year show from 57 years ago resonates so well with so many people and has good family values. So just interacting with these people and being part of their happiness and the glow that they get is magic. And I'm very, very lucky and blessed, and I'm very grateful to have been part of it.
Thank you, Butch. I think something that Butch said about being a part of people's happiness, each one of you have been such an important component to people's happiness with the work that you've offered. Wesley, I understand that The Land of the Lost and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters shared the same cave.
Oh, yes.
And it turned out to be kind of a disaster movie.
Well, we had the same caves, and then that first day of shoot, I believe, at Goldwyn, right?
Yeah, it was Samuel Goldwyn Studios, which is now Oprah's Oprah Studios.
Okay.
We had a gobo, which is one of the big lights that fell on the supposedly non-flammable set.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the whole set went up in flames.
Oh my gosh.
Rip Taylor grabbed Billy Barty under his elbow like a football and ran out. And then for the next 2 hours was on Santa Monica Boulevard, dressed in his genie costume, trying to get a ride back home.
But what Rip told me was he's walking down Santa Monica Boulevard with the flippers, the green outfit as the Sea Genie, and not one person gave him a second look. And he went to get the keys because his wallet was gone, his keys were gone.
Oh,
he went to the front desk of his condominium to get keys. And there he is in all this regalia, and he said, "I need keys to my apartment." And the guy went, "Oh yeah, Mr. Taylor, here." Yeah. No, because it was Hollywood.
Hollywood, baby. It all looks like
When
it matters.
we do another one of these, I'm going to tell you the real stories of what happened.
Well, I want to hear that because I worked with Rip Taylor, so I know a little about that. Hello. So I know that you worked with Ava Gabor on Green Acres, and she took a fancy to you.
Yes, she did. Now, I mean, I knew both of them, but I was in love with Ava Gabor.
Yeah.
And she wanted to adopt me. I'm one of 8 children, and she said, "Thelma, darling, you have 7 children. You have 8 children. Just one is what I want."
And she chose you.
Yes.
But but her boyfriend was Merv Griffin?
Exactly. And so just think what I could have done, Ma, if she would have let me go with Ava.
The Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, whatever happened to those shows? We'll be right back. speaking of great shows that are classic and will go on forever, you and your brother, where is your brother?
I don't know. Do you know?
He's surfing. He's surfing. He's in Malibu surfing.
But didn't he just turn 93? Or
He's at the gym.
he's at the gym.
Always
You know,
working
those
out.
Krofft brothers. Well, I want to thank you for all that you've contributed to our lives, your joy, your work, your vision, and thank you for being on Idle Chat. You've been an absolute joy.
Good.
I've had the most wonderful time today, and I hope you have too. And you'll come back and join us again for another episode of Idle Chat. Till then, be good, do good. I'm Susan Anton. I'll see you next time. Bye.